Hello there, my name is Alexander Rosso. I want to welcome you to my first episode of Arc for Dummies. This is going to be the series I'm going to be making, explaining how to play the game. I'm going to go through all the basics, how to get started, little tips and tricks on what to prioritize in certain order. So we're going to be focusing on day one, how to just get started in this video, and you start by picking your spawn location. When you start up Arc, the first thing you're going to see before you even make a character is going to be this page. Now, you pick your spawn regions. They give you a rough idea of how difficult the area is. Each one will take you to a different point on the map. You cannot see the map yet because you haven't explored it. By exploring the map, you unlock more of it. I'm going to start, for the sake of this video, in South Zone 1. Easy. So, after you've done that, you click Create New Survivor. And it will give you your character here to start off with. They always give you a bog standard. The thing about you've got to realise with character creation in Arc is this is about as normal as it's gonna get. You'll notice that you can't change the hair. That's because in Arc your hair grows over time, and you can even cut it and it becomes a resource. You can change the colour of your character. Including the hair colour, the eye colour, and you can change the actual shape of your characters. But as I said before, Arc's character creation is a little bit jarring. It's very difficult to make a character look even slightly human on this. I'm just going to click random. Oh, let's return defaults. There you go, random. And that's what I've got. Sexy little thing, isn't he? Yeah. After this, you got survivor name. Now, if you're going onto a server, whether it be unofficial or official, I highly advise that you do not go with the default name human. It carries a lot of bad stigma, as lots of trolls use this name because it's so generic. Try to avoid names like ABC, 123, AAA, things like that. Actually bother to put in the effort to come up with a name. I'm going to go with Alexander. Oh, helps if I don't have cap locks. Alexander Rosso. And then you click Create New Survivor. The first thing you're going to see is you're going to see the clouds and your character waking up. That in his arm is your implant. Essentially, that is how you use your crafting tools. Everything you want to make, your start menu is that thing. If you're playing on keyboard and mouse, you get to that by pressing I. You'll notice I've got skins here. You get them from the DLC or getting certain achievements in the game. You'll get them every time you respawn, so every time you die you'll get a new set. You'll find they get more annoying towards the end. Now, first thing you need to do on this island is you need to gather some resources. You need to get yourself protected very quickly, because even on the easy areas there are many dinosaurs out there to kill you. You get these by picking up using the E button if you're on PC. There you go, I got 1 stone. You'll also find on the ground sometimes wood, I'm only finding stone at the moment. The bushes will give you a mixture of berries and fibre. Fibre is used like string, and the berries come in a variety. They have different uses. Predominantly they are just food, but that being said, these white berries are stim berries. You can use these to make stimulants, which are good for stopping you from getting knocked out, as some creatures apply a tranquilizer poison. Also, other players might try and tranquilize you if they catch you unawares. Stimulant is also used in other crafts to make various other things. I will cover those in a later episode. The blackberries, narco berries, are used to make tranquilizers. Do not eat these. If you eat these, you will fall asleep. There is a certain amount you can eat without falling asleep, but it's not very many. All the other berries, the yellow, the blue, the red, are fine to eat. But they are also used to make different coloured dyes later in the game. Again, that is something I'll show you in another episode. There is another berry that I haven't managed to get yet, which is very important, because that is used for taming your herbivores, at least early on. Herbivores, there we go. Herbivores do prefer to eat vegetables, or better than that, kibble. Kibble is something that's a lot more end game, and I'll be covering that in a much later video. But these are your megaberries, the purple ones. You'll be using these quite a lot for taming your herbivore dinosaurs. You also notice you sometimes get seeds. These are used when you do farming. Again, farming is something I'll probably discuss in a later episode, but it's very useful for getting more precise berries or crops that you want. You also have trees. One of the first things you want to do with trees, after you've picked up some stone, you want to get some wood or thatch. And by doing that, you need to punch a tree. I'm pressing the left button on the mouse to do this. I believe control does that as well. You'll see I'm getting both thatch and wood from this tree. Be warned though, that did hurt me, so that did decrease some of my health. So to stop that from happening, if you press I and bring up this page again, you go to crafting. In crafting, initially it will be like this. It's not so bad when you don't have so many things unlocked, but later on it can get very difficult to find what you want. So you may want to put this on, folder view. It organises everything for you and makes things a lot easier to find. We want a pickaxe, so that is in weapons. Then in primitive, melee, and there it is, our stone pick. The very first tool you'll ever make. You double click that, if you hold your mouse over it, it'll tell you exactly what you need. 1 stone, 10 thatch, and 1 wood. After you've made it, you click the inventory tab, grab your pickaxe and drag it onto your hotbar. Your hotbar is numbered 1 to 0, and you access that the fairly self-explanatory way by clicking numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and etc. Now I've got my pick in my hand. If I hit a tree now, it doesn't hurt me. But you'll notice I get more thatch than I do wood. Pickaxes and hatchets are your 2 main resource gathering. Now different things like trees, they have 2 different types of resource. Depending on your tool you use, depends on what you get more of. The pickaxe will get you more thatch. With animals that you've killed, it will get you more meat. With stones, it will get you more flint. And metal nodes, it will give you more metal. So, as I said, stones, they give you flint, another resource. Now we've already grabbed stone, thatch, and fibre, and a little bit of wood. Now we need some flint. So now I've got some flint. If I go to crafting again, I can now make myself a torch. Torch is useful because at night it gets very dark in Ark. But you'll notice from doing this, I've now gained 1 level. Pick where you wish to put it, but I would advise initially putting it into weight. because you're going to find yourself getting encumbered very quickly, and haven't got anywhere to put it at the moment, and you don't really want to waste the resources. Once you've done that, you'll get to this page here, engrams. Most servers you'll only be able to unlock a certain amount. For example, the stone hatchet is worth 3 points, and up here I only have 8, so I can't possibly get all 3 of these, so I have to pick very carefully what I want. A stone hatchet is a must, so I'll be getting that. The spear is useful for killing, but I don't use it too often, so I'm not going to be unlocking that. But I will be unlocking campfire, as I will be wanting to cook my own food. Now I've got that, it's time to see if I can craft the hatchet, which I can. I craft that, go back to my inventory, and then drag and drop the hatchet onto my hotbar. So I've now got a pick, a torch, and a hatchet. The torch you can throw on the floor, allowing to light up an area while you use another tool. Quite useful at night because you can't use a hatchet and a torch at the same time, but you still want to be able to see. You can then pick it up by pressing E. Bear in mind, the longer you use your torch, the more its health depletes. Same with the hatchet and the pickaxe. These can be repaired by just going over them in your inventory tab and pressing E, provided you have the right materials to repair it. As I said before, different tools get you different items. The hatchet is now getting me more stone. Stone is useful later on, but not so much at the moment. Dodos are one of the first sort of creatures you'll probably come across. They're friendly, but if attacked they will run away. You do want to kill one of these as soon as possible, because you'll get meat, and more importantly hide. Fortunately, they're rather weak. After you've killed one, use your hatchet on it. You'll notice I got 4 hide from that. You're going to need a lot of hide, especially early on. Now, let's get some levels and let's focus on getting some more building done, because that sun's starting to set and you want a place to spend the night. The first structure you're going to be able to build will be thatch. Thatch structures are made predominantly of thatch, which you get by using your pickaxe, but it also uses fibre and wood. So get a good mix of all those materials. You can sprint by holding the shift key. Bear in mind this uses your stamina and you only have a limited supply. After it's depleted, you'll have to stop for it to refill. Remembering that you get the thatch from the bushes. The main dinosaurs to worry about in this particular area is Difflosaurs. They're rather small, but they will kill you. They also spit at you, and if they do hit you, it will blind you for a certain amount of time, making it rather disorientating. I've now gained a level, and I'll put that onto weight again. And again, I have unlocked things. I've unlocked cloth clothing, water skin, gloves, cloth boots, and cloth hat. Now, although clothing is very useful, I'm not going to be getting it, as you quite often pick up clothing in crates or drops. And the water skin, depending on where you are, might be worth getting. But at the moment, I'm right by the water, so I should be okay for a while, and hopefully I'll find one. Because those engrams are very valuable. I still haven't unlocked the ability to build houses, so let's just keep getting some materials. Depending on your server, depends how much materials you get. Some servers like to boost them, making it possible to build massive structures very quickly. Also, some of them let you level up faster. I've got the settings set to pretty much standard at the moment, for the sake of the video. Again, I've now leveled up again. And you'll see I've unlocked some thatch products. We will be unlocking the thatch foundation, a thatch door frame, a thatch wall, a thatch ceiling, and a thatch door. Sadly, I can't unlock any more. I would like to get the storage box as soon as possible. You can make get the sleeping bag. I would suggest getting that, but I'm going to save it for now, as I want to get some other stuff beforehand. The sleeping bag allows you, if you die, to respawn at wherever you put that sleeping bag. Quite useful if you know you're going into quite a dangerous area and you run the risk of dying. That way you're able to respawn back where you was and quickly get your stuff back. Also useful if you plan on raiding someone else's base where you might die quite often. I'll cover raiding in a much later video. I've now hit the thing I warned you about, which is being encumbered. I'm now too heavy. I cannot move, as indicated by the symbol in the bottom right corner showing a bit of weight. You'll quite often see the snowflake. That just means you're cold. I wouldn't worry too much about that, but you should worry if you see the melting ice cube, because that means you will die from the cold. So, I am now too heavy. So I have a choice of either using up these materials or dropping some. I am actually going to drop this stone because I don't need stone right now, and you do that by pressing O. But at the same time, I'm going to craft because I unlocked some of those building materials. So now I want to click the arrow to go back, back again, and you'll see I've got a new folder here called Structures and Thatch. You start by building a foundation. I'm going to build 9 foundations, I think. And I'll do a simple 3x3 base. I will also want a door. And on a 3x3 base, I'll want a fair amount of walls. Probably more than I can hold. So now they've turned black, it means I've run out of materials, so I'll have to go get some more. But as I said before, I'm rather heavy at the moment, so it's probably good to use these parts I've made to relieve some weight, enabling me to gather some more. I'll drag these things onto my hotbar for faster building. Like so. Now, you need to pick a place to build. I'm still encumbered, so I'm going to just build here. Most people will build near where they spawn to begin with, but I advise not staying too close to the spawn zones. As many people do this, and you quite quickly become an easy target. Also, you want to explore the map to find out where the resources you want most are close by. But I wouldn't panic too much, as most areas have all resources around. Maybe some of them not as in plentiful supply, but they'll have other resources which are also useful. Plus, in Ark you get to tame dinosaurs, which will help you on your journey. So even getting these resources, even if they are far away, isn't too bad. I've now built everything I can, but I need some more. So I pull up my inventory to see what I'm lacking. I can see I've got a fair amount of wood here, but I haven't got much fibre or thatch, so I'm going to focus on getting those. As I said before, the pickaxe is what gets you your thatch. Although I'm collecting wood, even though I knew I didn't need it. I'm starting to get encumbered. You can see on the right hand corner you have various things telling you your status. At the moment you can see there's a picture of a stomach in red. That shows that I'm hungry, so I need to eat. As I said before, early on in the game I've grabbed some berries, so I'm going to eat these by pressing E. You can hold down E to eat them fast, but be careful, because if once it runs out, it will carry on eating the next item, and the last thing you want to do is accidentally eat a few narco berries. I've now eaten a little bit. That'll tide me over for a short amount of time, but berries don't go a long way. I'll have to cook some meat soon. Meanwhile, let's go get some fibre. Later on you get a tool which only gets you fibre from bushes and doesn't get you berries, but it gets you fibre in a much larger quantity, which is rather handy. Let's see how much I've got. That should be enough to build a little bit. Now, because I put those items on my hotbar, I have now got the option, if I press them, if I've got the materials, it will craft what I want. For example, if I press 7, it will craft me a wall. I don't have to go straight to the inventory to do this. So now I've crafted that wall, I can place it. But I need a lot of walls, so I'm just going to keep pressing 7 for a bit. I can make 6 walls currently. I'll probably need a lot more than that. Generally, when you build a building, you want to try and build it so it's 2 squares high. The reason for this is some storage crates are about that high, and you don't want to be clipping them in through the ceiling. Obviously, much later in the game, you'll get some structures which are even taller than that, so your base will have to accommodate. Remember though, the bigger your base, the easier it is to see. And it will always attract attention. If someone sees a big base, they generally think that there's a lot of good stuff inside. So in Ark, don't feel that bigger is better. It's how you build, not what you build, that matters. And through this video, I'll hopefully be showing you how to build correctly. As you'll notice, my pickaxe just broke, but fortunately I should have the materials to repair it. If I clicked 1, it will repair it for me. You may see these glowing lines in the distance. Those are crates or drops, depending on how you want to phrase it. They contain items, but you have to be certain levels to open different colour ones. The orders they go in are white, green, blue, purple, yellow and red. You also get drops called cave drops, which are smaller upside down pyramids. They require higher levels, but generally have better equipment in. And they also contain something called blueprints. Blueprints are the same as engrams, except normally better qualities. For example, say you have a Rex saddle, which has 100 health. You may find a blueprint later on that has a health of 150. So that makes it a far more useful product. I've now unlocked storage box, and you'll remember that earlier on I said I wanted to unlock this as fast as possible. The reason being is they are particularly good for levelling up, of which I've already got another level. With this I've unlocked Mortal and Pestle, that is a must, for this makes your narcotics, which you'll use for taming dinosaurs. Spark powder, which becomes fuel to make fire. And narcotic, which is for taming dinosaurs. This is your tranquilizer. It will be used in various ways. Now I need to get some more materials. I'm okay for thatch, but I'm low on fibre. So let's go get some of that. As I said before, if you're watching this video and you're feeling this game is moving too slowly for me, you may be wanting a server which is boosted. You can find the information of that when on such social medias like Facebook, or I believe there's a website called, if you're on PlayStation, called PS4 servers. Or you can simply just search in the unofficial servers tab when you look to join a server. Unofficial servers are servers that are controlled by players of the game. You'll have someone in charge called an admin. They tend to set the settings that they like and hope that they find players who like those settings as well. Bear in mind, their chances of you finding a server with exactly what you want are very rare. So you may have to settle on some things. So it's a good idea to, in an order, set what settings you find most important and making sure the server has those. For me, as a solo player, generally, I like to have all engrams. I don't like being restricted, but some people like the restriction because it means people trade. It does add an extra aspect to the game, which can be quite fun. Now this dodo here, as I said before, is probably more useful to kill, but instead I want to show you how to tame. Now I have no weapon equipped. Now you can only do this really to dodos. I wouldn't recommend doing it to other things. I would recommend you use things like tranquilizer arrows, tranquilizer darts, or even a wooden club. But for this, I'm just going to punch it. By punching it, I'm adding KO damage, and you'll see it's knocked out. Once it's knocked out, on the other hand, if you give it damage of any kind, it's going to make your tame have less stats. So try to be careful when taming. You don't want to shoot it one too many times and ruin your tame, because the better the tame, the more levels it will gain after it's tamed. At the moment, it's level 14. Dodos they're a herbivore, so they will eat major berries. I tame this by grabbing them and moving them over to the inventory. Or you can click T to transfer. It eats those berries, and you can see the orange bar underneath. It is taming. Some things tame faster than others, so they may require you to watch or build a structure around them to keep them safe. You'll notice the purple bar is unconscious meter. That slowly depletes. So sometimes you have to keep an eye on that, as they may wake up before the tame, and you don't want that to happen. You stop that by putting narcotics into their inventory and then pressing E on it to feed it the narcotics, therefore increasing its unconscious bar. Dodos don't need this. There we go. I have my first dodo, and I will call it Dave. Hello, Dave. Dodos don't really have much of a use except for being funny. Most servers just use them as a joke of some kind. I personally, on servers I've made, like to make dodo fight clubs, as I find that quite funny. Now I have a tame, I can do various things with it though. Dodos, you can pick them up, like small tames. And to get rid of him again, you double tap F to throw him to the floor. You'll notice he's following me now. He does that after he's tamed initially if you're standing close enough, but you may want him to stop. To do that, you have a variety of whistles. Some of them are on your hotkeys, and you may want to study your hotkeys, or if you have a second screen, you may want to have a picture of the hotkeys up on that screen until you've learnt them. Another way is just by holding T, you'll bring up this wheel. This wheel will hold down various commands. You've got your emotes, you can tell you're flying dinosaurs to land, you can get a dinosaur to attack the target you're currently looking at, although I would suggest using the hotkey for this instead. Whistle passive, so this means if your dinosaur is attacked in any way, it won't attack back. That is actually useful in various scenarios. Whistle neutral, which means the dinosaur will go back to its initial state. It won't really care unless it sees one of your dinosaurs being attacked. Whistle attack my target, which means it will attack with you, or if one of your other dinosaurs feels like its friend. Whistle stop one, which is how you stop a dinosaur from following you or doing whatever it's doing, but it'll only target one dinosaur. Whistle stop all will target all your dinosaurs and have the same effect. That's what I want to use on Dave. Or whistle stop one. You'll see Dave is no longer following me, and he'll stay where he's put. Although, if you breed dinosaurs, which I'll cover in a later episode, their natural status is to wander. Now you can bring up your dinosaur's wheel by holding down E over them, and this will bring up their personal things. Most of the things you'll find are in behaviour. Some things, like neutering, exporting, unclaiming, or change name, are in options. But for most things you're going to want to do behaviour. In behaviour you can enable wandering, which means it will walk around freely. Don't think just because you have a pen and the dinosaur's wandering it's safe though. Sometimes, because of ARC, they can clip out of it. So it's best to use a dino leash or just keep them not moving. Enable mating if you have dinosaurs of the opposite sex to breed, and depending on the server settings, depends on how often you can breed. You can also ignore group whistles, which I'll cover these in another episode. But you can also change how much they follow you, their targeting range, or in this, for what I was saying, stance. At the moment he's set to attack your target. I want him to be passive. I don't want him to attack, just in case he tries to attack something and gets killed. But you can also, if he was wandering, like he is now, you can disable that. Stop him from running into danger. You stay in the house, Mr. Dodo. That is your basic commands for your tames. I will go into more tame uses in a later video, but that's enough to get you started. Now we could stand here all day and watch me build this raft, but let's just make things quicker for the sake of the video by enabling creative mode. Creative mode is only available in single player if you have it checked. I advise not getting too used to it, as you'll find yourself taking some of the fun out of the game. I'm only enabling it so that I don't waste your time while watching this video. In creative mode it means I'm able to craft without using mats. So I'm going to show you what this space looks like when it's finished. So let's build that wall and finish this off. Now the problem with thatch is it can sometimes be difficult to find your door. That's why thatch isn't a favourite of mine at all. I tend to try and just get straight to wood. I very rarely will build out of thatch. But if you're on a server where the gathering is pretty standard, you may have no choice. I now need a ceiling, because some servers have something called offline raid protection, or ORP for short. This means while you're offline, you can't be attacked. But if they can still get in your base and get to your body, they can still take what's on you. So, you want a ceiling if you're on a server with ORP. Regardless, you're going to want a ceiling because you want to try and make things as difficult as you can for other players to raid you. Of course, if you're on a server which is PvE, that's not so much of a worry, although if people can get hold of your body, if they can drag it into water, they can still kill you. And sadly, some people don't always play by the rules. Now I've got my little structure, I'm relatively safe from dinosaurs around me, as they can't see me. But if they see me, when I run in here, they may try and attack the structure, and it being thatch at the moment won't probably survive. So you're best off trying to lose the dinosaur rather than running straight into your house. Or if you have a bed, perhaps just die, let the dinosaur have his fun with you, then respawn at your bed, and then keep an eye. When the dinosaur is away from your stuff, then go get your stuff. But sometimes you really got to think to yourself, is what I had worth the wait? If the materials you had on you were easy to replace, sometimes it's just best to leave it and move on. You could waste an hour trying to get your stuff back and then end up just rage quitting on the game. This has happened to me many a times. And you gotta just, as I say, you gotta really think: is what I had on me really worth the hassle of getting it back? Now, as I said earlier, berries only go so far. You need to cook. If you eat meat raw, it will kill you. So you need. That's the only problem with having crafting mode. It's unlocked everything. But if you go to structures and then cooking, you'll find campfire that you unlocked. If you craft that and then place it by pressing E on the tab or moving it to your hotbar, you can place a fire. You can place it indoors or outdoors. Most people place it outdoors. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to place mine indoors. Now, if you go over to it and press E, you can access its inventory. Now you can use wood, thatch or spark powder to fuel it. I'm going to use some wood, and then you place your meat in there with it. Then when you light the fire, you can light it in this tab, or by simply, once it has fuel in it, you can press E on it to turn it off and on. You hold E to act its inventory, or if you press F. Now that's cooking. After a while I'll have some cooked meat in there. Meanwhile, I can focus on crafting some more, or focus on trying to get my levels. Sadly, because I went into creative mode, I've unlocked everything. So I'm going to end the video here. I hope you found this useful if you've never played Ark before. As I said, I will be doing this journey through Ark with you in later episodes, covering many different things, right from this thatch structure right up to your very first honeycombed PvP base. Enjoy playing Ark and take care.